D-Buds, you beautiful.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. My name is Marva B. I am the CEO and founder of Black Link Magazine, and I'm so excited to have our special guest tonight. Welcome, Dr. Zackory. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and introduce to the world who you are and what you do.
Everybody, hello. It's a great honor to be here with Black Link Magazine. I am Dr. Zackory Kirk, and I'm an educator, social media activist for social justice with a focus on education as well as wellness as a whole. My target audience is absolutely the Black community and all marginalized communities in the United States of America, and that's where the bulk of my work resides. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so excited to get into this conversation and learn more about what you do, because as you know, Black Link Magazine, we embrace our culture. While we do understand that every life matters and we welcome everybody, we do embrace our culture here. So this is just going to be an amazing conversation. I want to just jump in talking about social media and the media. And the reason for that is because it's a social media world, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we were talking about moms earlier. My mother cannot stand social media, but she has this women's group, this special women's group, and it was all about Zoom, right? Let's talk about, and it just drove her crazy, but let's talk about the presence on social media and what drove you there and how you became who you are in the social media world.
Marva, we got to get your mom to embrace social media.
I'm trying.
And we've got to encourage everyone who is in our generation, above and even below, because to realize the power and the potential that wielding social media effectively has for their longevity. Okay. My mom, God rest her beautiful soul, she was 60 years old, passed away recently. Oh, and I was able to spend time with her in these last couple of years via social media. And we were more connected towards the end of her life than almost any time in between her life. And it's because of this power, right? It's because of the continuous output of just sharing with the world that I was doing, and then her constant, ability to absorb that. So even on a personal, familial level, you're missing out on opportunity when you're not embracing what social media is doing for the world in 2022. On a business level, you are now able to break barriers around building a brand, around establishing a network, and around creating opportunities for yourself that we've never had before. This, of course, is Black History Month, and the focus of the 2022 Black History Month is on Black health and Black wellness. With that being stated, you can learn so much more now via social media than you've ever been able to learn before. So that makes, to me, a very cogent argument as to why everyone needs to embrace this, who's our age and older and even below, because you really don't see the digital power being harnessed except by those in Gen Z, right? The digital natives. Right. But we're missing out on opportunities. You have people out here that when we were their age, right? When we were 22 years old, we were just maybe coming out of college, getting an entry-level position. We were possibly earning maybe $35,000 a year if we were lucky. You now have children who are 16 to 21, choosing to forego college altogether, and they're making six figures a month. $100,000 or more a month because they know how to leverage the power of social media. This isn't going to go away. It is a part of the fabric of the business world. And when we don't know it, we're going to miss out on that fabric. Back in my day, I was constantly being told, about the factories that are going to close, These traditional guaranteed jobs aren't going to be there. So you need to get in a field, a service-oriented field, so you can be competitive. Now, I think the message is to people that you need to get in the field of being proficient with social media. You need to know how to use and leverage short form video. You need to know how to make a message and keep it short and concise to the point if you want to be competitive in the world of work, because that's where the jobs are going to be. That's the future.
Absolutely. I love that. And what I saw is that when COVID first hit, it was an opportunity to say, okay, dig deep within yourself and figure out who you are. But how can you be that in the social media world? Because now we can't go anywhere. We have to, it's an opportunity to create, opportunities for ourselves. What do you say about like the different avenues, and how do you make the decision to utilize each one of those platforms, right? Like the TikTok thing it's not new, but it's the newer thing, right? You're out there and you have a presence in TikTok. Let's talk about how people can do that and what your process was.
So what I came down to, right, is that it all starts, of course, with you being a consumer of the content. So when the pandemic started to happen, we were locked down, we were at home. So I decided, let me see what this TikTok is about. And that's actually what the majority of adults who are on TikTok did, is that for most of us, it happened during the pandemic. So you get on the app, you consume the content, and then you start to think, you know what? I am watching people go from having 1,000 followers to having 100,000 followers in a week because of one little piece of content. That is unheard of. That can't happen. That didn't happen on Instagram. You couldn't do that on Facebook. It's not happening on Twitter, but it's happening on TikTok. Let me tap into this opportunity and see what I can do for myself. And so for me, it was also a way of merging this little bitty passion around social media with a real purpose to impact this world in a micro way. I am a huge believer and proponent of what's called micro influence. There are people in this world, and actually all influence starts at a micro level and then grows and goes up.
Absolutely.
Vice President Kamala Harris is called to be a macro influencer, and God has given her a stage to be a macro influencer. The world watches her, the world scrutinizes her, but the world is also listening to her. She has macro influence. Dr. Kirk, right now in this world, has micro influence. I can go on TikTok and I can make a video that talks about an issue around police brutality that is not getting attention. And I am able to share that and influence maybe 10 people to now create content of their own around the content that I created. Or I can have those 10 people take the content I made and share it. That's micro influence. And that micro influence begins to snowball. That's how TikTok works. My one video that I make about the killing of Sasha. It was a young lady, a major Black Lives Matter. She wasn't killed. She was shot in the head. She is still surviving, but her life has been, of course, significantly altered. That one piece of content, and again, it went viral in England. Right. It was shared over 6,000 times. So more than 6,000 people shared this one little video I made about her and how the police were not giving it its due attention. And this is happening all over the space. That's the power of TikTok. But while Marva, we're talking about TikTok, I have to always do it for the culture and talk about fan base. So if there's a platform that may be the next TikTok, the up and coming thing is fan base, created and owned by our brother, a Black man, Isaac Hayes III, the son of the one and only chef, Isaac Hayes, right? The one and only, artist, musician extraordinaire. His son, Ike, whose real name is Isaac Hayes III, has crowdfunded and created this app called Fanbase. And Fanbase is just like Instagram for your photos. It's just like Instagram in terms of hosting your videos, but it also has audio rooms like Clubhouse, and it's adding a new feature that's going to roll out in a couple of days called Flicks, which gives you the ability to create content just like TikTok. And right now it is heavy in terms of a Black presence, in terms of Black community. And I'm seeing people on that platform blow up quick, just like they did at TikTok in the beginning. So it's always good to get in on the ground floor.
Wow. So brilliant. So brilliant. I love everything that you're sharing, and I can't wait to get this message out because people need to know this. Like fan base, I heard about fan base, but I never accessed it. Like TikTok, I heard about TikTok and I never accessed it. But the moment that I did, I'm like, whoa, I can do this. Like, right, I can do this. Let's talk about educating and your education piece and what you when you say I'm an educator, what are we talking about?
What a beautiful concept, right? Because I'm an educator, and I will, born an educator, will die an educator. It's a calling over my life. It is a purpose over my life. It is why God has me on this earth. There's no question about that. In regards to actually being an educator and paid for it in terms of it being in my profession, I did that for 15 years. I was a public school teacher. I have 4 degrees, a bachelor's in English, master's in English education, a specialist degree in educational leadership, and then a doctorate in educational leadership. So I taught for 9 years, a public high school English teacher who taught all the way up from the advanced placement courses, having the most kids pass the AP exam for English language composition in my school system, to also teaching kids who had special identified needs in the inclusion classroom. Because I feel it's essential, if you're a good teacher, you can do both. You can teach the children who are exceptional academically and teach the students that may have exceptional needs to become exceptional academically, but who are exceptional in the gifts and talents God has given them nonetheless. So I taught for 9 years before going into central office administration. My last paid public school position was as the director of curriculum for one of Georgia's largest school systems, where I oversaw the curriculum implementation in all content areas. I then left that field to go into the field of educational sales and resources. So now I work for a company where I help school systems procure the resources that they need to move learning forward. But so my title right now would say account executive, but the focus will always be education. I will always be an educator. And I use that in my social media to educate people on the things that I feel they need to know. The whole world needs to know about George Floyd. But if we didn't always know about George Floyd, we should have known about every George Floyd before George Floyd, and we didn't. Right. Black men and Black women have been losing their lives to police brutality for the entirety of this nation's founding. Right from the moment we had police, we have had Black people lose their lives to the policing unit. Yes. And I'm not saying defund anything. I'm just simply pointing out facts. And people need to know this. And that is how I operate as an educator on platform. We are also living in a moment in American history where disinformation has never been stronger. It is a form of terrorism being inflicted on the American people, okay? Where literally right now, we are watching the world see the erasure of the January 6th insurrection, where we saw with our own eyes, people storm the Capitol, say, hang Mike Pence, call police officers racial slurs, and say they wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. We saw this live, but we're now seeing that this didn't happen. We're now seeing these people being rebranded as patriots. This is disinformation. It is my work as an educator and the work, in my opinion, of every single person who believes in the truth to pull that back and make it continuously seen by the American people what really happened every single day. That's what we do. And that's why I say I'm an educator.
You're all that. Oh my gosh. You make me just want to pull these braids out. So good. It's good stuff. I always talked about, Dr. Kirk, it didn't just happen with George Floyd. And the reason I have to tell you really quick, the reason I created the magazine is because I wanted to keep us in the forefront, because not every time something happens, we talk about it, it dies. We talk about it, it dies. And we keep this this thing on us that we're angry Black women, that we're gangbangers, and but we're educated and we're good people. We need to know that. And that's why I created it, to keep us in the forefront. But just because But when George Floyd happened, it was happening before that, but it was just silenced. You talked about it for a moment, it's gone. You talk about it for a moment, it's gone. Why do we, Dr. Kirk, let it go? Why can't we continue to build on it to make a difference? What's going on?
I'll tell you right now why we let it go, because that is how authoritarianism works in the disinformation push. we're angry for a moment, and the whole disinformation machine creates a distraction to take our attention away from it. And what happens is, so some of us have short attention spans and we can't do the work for long anyway. Absolutely. So we are quickly diverted. So you have the most recent killing of the young man, Amir, I forget his last name, in Minnesota, which should be getting national attention. And there should be national, work around that. When that happens, but now you got Kanye West coming out with his brand new Netflix documentary. So everyone's now focused on the brand new Kanye West Netflix documentary. That's how it works. You have major media outlets that are too praised in the Black community. And this is not in any way wanting to highlight competition for Black Link, but you have the Shade Room, you have Media Takeout, you have the Breakfast Club. They are continuously pushing the distractions. They're not giving you, those are the platforms that are being most seen by Black America, by Black people living in this nation. They're going to those sources for their news, instead of looking at reputable news sources that will give them the truth. So they care more about Kanye West than they care about Amir. They care more about what's happening with Kim and Kanye, and then they are concerned about the protests that should be happening in Minnesota and really spreading around the United States to bring an end to the police brutality issue by true laws on the books. That's the problem. And then you have where they can quickly shift it. When you have one thing that's been odd to me is that the media and people have put a lot of focus around Joe Biden has done nothing for me in the 1 year that he's been in office. And I'm so mad at the Democrats because they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And I'm even then taking it, if you are enlightened, you go and you can say, well, it's not Joe Biden's fault, it's Christian Sinema and Joe Manchin's fault. But the reality is this: why are we not talking about the 50 Republicans who do nothing for you either? They're not only doing nothing for you, they're actively working against you. You're not talking about that, though. You're not talking about the $1.9 trillion bills passed for COVID-19 relief by 50 Democrats, 0 Republicans, that gave Black families money at a time when they need it. And something credible, Joe Biden did enough for you. You're not talking about the voting rights bill that we're trying to get passed because Joe Biden did enough for you, that he can't pass because he doesn't have the votes. But you want to focus on the 2 Democrats that aren't voting, but not the 50 Republicans. But that is all by design, and that's how media works. That's what they put in front of people, and people digest it instead of going forward. And that's why it is the work of real influencers who are passionate about what they do to educate.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, you said like the Breakfast Clubs and all these platforms, all these media platforms, right?
Hate them all, Marva.
So let me ask you this, in all fairness, for them or whatever. Do you believe that they're pushing those stories to distract? Do you think it's a conscious thing, or do you think they're just covering what's hot?
No.
Does that make sense?
They're not covering what's hot. Charlemagne's the gadfly sat up on some interview and said that I miss Donald Trump. He knows what he's doing and he knows what he is saying. And he's not saying it because it's hot. He's saying that he's paid to do so. These people are funded. And there's a massive problem in the Black community when our celebrities, people that we have paid, that we have funded, and that we have endorsed, then turn around and betray the community for the benefit of a capitalistic pursuit. That's what's happening. There's no doubt in my mind. It's not about not knowing. It's not ignorance. It's about I want more clicks. I want sensational headlines. I want to get more traffic to my website, and I want to get more views. And I'm going to get more views by putting up things that I know will be controversial and that could be misleading than telling the real story, the real truth.
Wow.
That is what it's about.
Yeah. I was okay. And I hear you. I hear you on that. I just always wonder.
And see, Barbara, you can't say it like I can say it. And that's okay because of what you do. But I can say it because I don't care about any of those people and what they're doing for themselves. I care about this community and fighting against the misinformation.
Yeah, and I care about the community. I care about what's going on. And so this leads me into the next segue about COVID. Let me ask you about your true feelings about COVID, okay? We hear all of this. You're an educator, and we hear all these different stories about the government's doing this. The government is killing off people. It's too many people in the world. They're killing off. What is your honest opinion? Now, these are just our opinions and how we feel here. So we're just having a conversation about it. What is your opinion on that?
All of that is absolutely nonsense. The United States government would never want to kill off United States citizens because there are too many people living in the world. That is nonsense. That comes from the pits of disinformation hell, and it needs to be absolutely disqualified. But I also say that people don't really want to believe.
Yeah.
You know what? You can make the choice to not get vaccinated. As you and I don't care.
Right.
That's your life. You have the right to choose for yourself. My issue comes in when you are then, however, making actions that take away someone else's choice to be safe. That's my issue. That's our problem. I don't care if you don't want to get vaccinated, and I don't care if you don't want to wear a mask, but stay in your house. Stay away from the general population. Don't dare go around those who are immunocompromised or who are elderly or who may not be able to take the same precautions that you take. Because that's when your freedoms are infringing on the freedoms of others. And it is a responsibility of the government to protect the majority of people, not this random group of fringe people. That's also concerning to me. When you have these random conspiracy theories out there, they are not ever believed by the majority of people. The majority of Americans, of Black people, do not believe these conspiracy theories. It's a small number, but I constantly see too many people catering to the 10% and not the 90%. There are nut jobs out there who believe that there are reptilian aliens walking the earth.
Yeah. They
believe it. Why would we in any way give them credence and credibility when they believe that there are reptilian aliens and President Barack Hussein Obama is one?
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. This is good stuff. I cannot wait to get it out. I cannot wait. All right, let's talk about what your expectations are for when people hear you, when you're putting out your messages. What is your expectation? What do you want them to get from there? What do you really want people to get from Dr. Kirk?
What I want people to get from Dr. Kirk is empowerment and motivation to do their part to have a micro influence.
Simple as that.
If something that I've said resonates, share it. If something that I have said motivates, then you get out there and you make some short form content yourself. You educate and you teach. The least that you can do is share what resonates with you from any content creator that's out there. That's the least you can do, is share it. But the most you can do is then be inspired to create your own content. So that is what I hope people get from me, Dr. Kirk. That's it, is that you too can find some way, and you should find some way to have a micro influence on this world.
I love it. I appreciate you. I could talk to you forever.
Well, you know what, Marvin, anytime you need me, right? I'm here. If Black Link, maybe you have a roundtable summit, maybe you have, whatever it is, I am here for you 100%.
Thank you. We actually are having one on we try to do Sunday evenings. I might have to pull you in and give them some of what you got, because I'm loving it.
You know what? Have me come in. I'm always here for you, my friend.
I appreciate it. Go ahead and tell the people how they can find you on all social media sites.
You can reach me on Instagram at thezactivist, ZACTIVIST. You can find me on TikTok at Zactivist, ZACTIVIST. Or if you want to have some non-political content and you want to see more lifestyle content and you live in Atlanta or visit Atlanta, you can also find me at Zach in ATL. That's a TikTok that's really focused on food reviews and just simple day in the life. So you can have a chance to know me as a human being, not as an educator activist. You can find me on TikTok if you are really concerned and more about the professional work of education, and that account is Zackory K, ZACKORYK. And also, of course, LinkedIn, and that's Zackory, ZACKORY, Kirk, KIRK. All four of those platforms are where I post the bulk of my content. I welcome you, and I can't wait to engage with you further.
Oh, wow. I will be following you on all platforms and I will be sharing, and people need to hear it. People need to hear it, whether it's, the TikTok world, whether it's the activist, whatever it is, people need to hear you speak. I really enjoyed this. I want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Black Link Magazine. I cannot wait to connect with you again. You guys, we're going to go for now, but remember, go out. Go follow Dr. Kirk. Go find out what he's talking about. It might resonate with you. So we're going to go. But remember, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless.
Demons, you will.